first thing that I was trying to figure out is, where is this person in their journey? How much do they know? Because someone who is just getting started and someone who's been researching for 6 months, your level of understanding is going to be very different, and how I answer the question is going to be very different. Same thing for someone perhaps who's been doing it for 2 or 3 years. They have got all the understanding of real estate investing, but they're still like, they can't quite figure out what's the best first step and what strategies should I be using. Mm-hmm. So a different answer is required for different types of people. Because I'm trying to figure out, is this just like a very basic, like, how does a rental property work, or what different types of strategies can I use to, to finance this, do it? Or perhaps, how do I do it? Like, how do I buy a rental property and put a tenant in it? And then is it a tenant type question? See what I mean? There's so many. Real estate is, I think it's pretty simple once you get the hang of it. But in the early stages, I remember what it was like getting started. And I remember how incredibly overwhelming it was, and how incredibly one-dimensional I was looking at it. I was looking at it from one dimension when I didn't realize it was four-dimensional. And there's just so many different angles to it, and you can do so many different cool things. So I don't want to overcomplicate this answer, but I thought, a really great place to start today was just on that note. And I thought this is a really good segue, and maybe something you didn't know that you could do. And what a lot of real estate investors actually do in order to get started when they don't have all that much cash. Cash is probably one of the top 3 reasons that people, or hurdles that people run into for real estate investing.
Yeah, because you need a 20% down payment, which is a large chunk of money.
Some people didn't know that.
Yeah. So, like you were just talking about like median house prices a little while ago in that article. I think it was in Canada was 700 or something like that. But in Alberta here, it's a little lower, but let's say you're buying a $500,000 asset. We just talked about this, I think, yesterday on the show. A 20% down payment would be $100,000.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money to save.
Yeah. I don't know many families that can save $1,000 a month. And if you were saving $1,000 a month, it'd take you about a little over 8 years. 8 years to be able to buy one rental property. So you do have to find those creative strategies in order to scale up if you want to buy 1 or 10. Rose says, I have one rental home that then after several years, I'm not improving. My husband's always stopping me. Oh, push harder.
She also says that it's hard to save.
Yes.
Absolutely. Very hard to save. We also just heard in that article about how our salaries aren't increasing with the inflation of everything else.
Yeah.
It's a problem.
Yeah. Well, in that example there, they're saying that of your monthly income, 60% of it is going to your home, whereas 42% like 2 years ago. So I don't know how anyone is going to be able to afford to be able to save. So typically, if you're not going to implement creative strategies into your real estate investing business, or you're not going to learn, then I would say that I would say that real estate investment is going to be reserved for those who inherit money. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
And I don't want to predict when our loved ones are going to pass, but most of our loved ones who pass on, an inheritance to us that we could invest to better ourselves and better our future, don't typically happen until our middle-aged years.
If the people we love that pass even have an inheritance to pass down.
Yeah. Typically that comes in the form of the equity from their home, right? Mm-hmm. The parent's home, or grandparents, perhaps, if there's something coming down from there. But, I remember having this thought, this very morbid discussion in my head with myself. And I even opened it up to Gabby once. And do you remember when I had those conversations with you? I know this sounds really bad, and I know it sounds morbid, but we would be, we'd be ignorant not to consider it. I remember I was in my early 20s trying to figure out what I'm going to do with my life. My career was progressing. Your career was progressing. We were trying to figure out what the frick to do. And what's Jared saying in the comments here?
It's also not a great look to be sitting by waiting for your parents to die, rubbing your hands like an evil villain.
That's how I felt. And I'm like, maybe I should just keep these thoughts in my head and not say it to my future wife.
But he said it, and now he's saying it to you.
Now I'm saying it to you. But I think it's ignorant not to consider that if you know that there's going to be an inheritance, I think it's wise to maybe just even in your own head, proactively plan for it on how you're going to implement it into your investments or implement it into your goals or your strategy for your goals so that you can plan out how you're going to pay for your children's education, how you're going to pay for your retirement, et cetera, et cetera. Don't bank on it, but I think it would be ignorant not to consider it.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad, I don't think he listens to this podcast. But that's okay. Side note, Gabby, I'm surprised he doesn't.
Maybe he does.
Maybe he doesn't. He just doesn't tell me just
Yeah.
to see if I'll talk shit about him, which I never talk about him. I'm surprised. Anyways, my dad has been talking about my inheritance since I was 4. I'm exaggerating. It was like 8. Ever since I was 8, he would constantly tell us how much money we're going to be getting. And I always thought it was really super fucking weird. And actually to this day, I think it's really super fucking weird. I don't know. Maybe it's just like a flex or something like that he just wants to tell us how much we're going to be getting. But I'm grateful for that because I've known since I was 8 how much to be expecting. And because I like numbers and because I like planning, I've always kind of had it in my back of my head. I'm like, okay, when my dad dies, I'll be able to get this and I'll be able to buy this many rental properties. Ever since I was 9 years old, cigarette hanging on my mouth. Okay, my dad dies, I'll be able to buy 9 properties. Okay, and every 7 years, my investment should double. So that's okay. Yeah, the rules. Okay, yeah, perfect. Yeah, and it beats the rule 72. Yeah, perfect. Anyway, so I always knew that my dad's money was coming, and I remember having that conversation with you and be like, I know this doesn't sound very good, but we should be considering how much money we're going to be getting from our parents, and how this can help us with our journey. Because early on, when I was first getting started on this stuff, I had no prospect of saving. We were trying. I remember when we both got our raises, we owned a home now, and we were doing the home ownership thing and the adult thing, and we were like starting to save and stuff. And I remember we were putting away $800 a month, and we both had really good jobs, and we were saving $800 a month. And I'm pretty sure my almost 9-year-old daughter can do that math, that I'm not going to be getting a down payment anytime soon.
Yeah.
So I was trying to come up with different strategies, and I wasn't aware of all of the other creative strategies like accessing equity from your HELOC or joint ventures or creative seller financing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I was so nervous to have that conversation with you, but I did take it into consideration. I think you guys should too. Don't ask your parents how much you're going to be getting, but if you're aware, take it into consideration, because for a lot of us, this is for a lot of real estate investors, this is the only way, unless of course you get some education, you learn how to do it the right way, and we can teach you that. Unless you do that, for a lot of you, you're going to be relying on your parents and the inheritance that you're going to be getting from them in order to get a big chunk of cash that you can invest. The problem with that approach that I found and what I learned at that time was that your parents might live a long time.
Okay, that is not a problem.
Gabby almost spit her tea.
Yeah,
Gabby almost spit her tea all over my face. I saw hot tea come out of Gabby's nose.
Oh, wow.
Your parents could live a long time, which is a really awkward feeling. Right? On one end, you're thinking, this is my first step that I'm going to get for real estate investments. On the other side of it, you kind of really like them. Pretty awkward little conundrum you're in there. Eh?
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of hope that our parents do live a long time because they're kind of cool and they kind of made us and stuff. So we don't want to be wishing on their early demise. But if they do live a long time, you're missing out on many, many years of building equity. And for those of you guys that aren't aware, time is your best friend when it comes to real estate investments. Have you guys ever heard of the compound effect? Ever heard of how compound interest works? I highly recommend looking up some articles. I mean, I don't have any, even if I did have an example, I wouldn't read it to you this morning because we've done too much math lately. I'm putting you guys back to bed. But they show the examples of how a 35-year-old or a 40-year-old starts investing and how much money they have available at 65. And they compare that to someone who started investing at 18 years old. And the dramatic difference of just time, no additional contributions, just starting earlier, and how fast it doubles. You know, the example of like, what's the one where like, I'll give you a penny every day or I'll give you $1 million, but the penny doubles every day or something like that. You know, those examples and stuff like that. It just shows that time is so incredibly valuable. So getting started sooner is so incredibly important. I'm sorry, by the way, I'm not coaching you guys to drop a toaster in your parents' bathtub. I'm not trying to. What I'm trying to say is that it's not the right approach. You should take that into consideration, but I think that you guys need to find some other creative ways to find other sources of income other than the traditional way of waiting until your inheritance. Because if you wait until your 40s or 50s, it's just you don't have enough time to build up that equity. You don't have enough time to allow that money to work for you. And saving and working a second job for a side hustle or whichever is not the right way. Saving will not get you enough money. So, as I was mentioning a minute ago, accessing one really great way, one of many, is accessing equity that you've already built into your home. If you own a home, you have a tool. You might not even have known it.
Yeah.
We didn't know. From our first home, we didn't know that we can access the equity. I had no idea how to calculate it either. But what you can do is, as you buy a house and as you pay your mortgage payments every month, and a portion of your mortgage payment goes towards paying down the loan and a portion goes towards the interest. The portion that goes towards paying the loan pays your loan down, but the value of your property will continue to go up as well. And that spread there, the difference between how much is left on your mortgage or your loan and how much your house is worth, is called equity. And that's yours. If you were to sell your house on that day and you were to sell it for what it's worth and pay off the underlying mortgage that is left owing, your lawyer would cut you a check for the difference of how much is owed on your mortgage and how much you sold your house for and how much it's worth. That's called equity. That's your cash. That's yours. Now, we don't want to sell our house though, right? Of course we don't want to sell our house. We'd like to keep our house, but I want access to that equity. How do I do it? Well, a lot of banks will allow you to take out a home equity line of credit on your equity. That is a secured loan. They secure that loan against the equity within your home. You're not borrowing more than what your house is worth. You're borrowing less. You're borrowing the difference up to what you're allowed to borrow. But a bank will allow you to borrow the equity that you have in the home. For those of you guys that think I'm going to get a second mortgage and I'm going to get 2 loans on my house and it's going to be the loans are going to be total more than the value of the house. That's not the case. Banks don't let you do that. But a bank will let you get a loan for the equity that you have in your house up to a reasonable amount so that you're not over leveraged. You borrow that equity at a reasonable interest rate of say 5%. What you can do is you can take that equity, that money that you pulled out, and you can invest that into real estate. You can take that $100,000 or $50,000 and buy a rental property. And you could make 20% returns on that money by investing in a rental property. So if you're worried about, oh shoot, but I got to make those payments, I got to pay that 5% interest, and I'm borrowing the money, I'm paying for that HELOC, that home equity line of credit. It's okay. You're going to pay 5%, but you're going to make 20%. So you're going to collect the difference. You're going to get a 15% rate of return. Would you rather leave that equity there doing nothing in your house? Or would you rather make a profit on that equity of 15% ROI minimum? I think a lot of you guys would like to make a profit. Keep in mind that equity is just sitting there right now for a lot of you guys and doing absolutely nothing. It's just sitting in your house. So, it is not making any money whatsoever.
This is actually what Chris here, who's in the live chat with us, did. Is he said, we purchased our first rental in 2020. We leveraged the equity in our primary residence and used a HELOC for the down payment. Best decision we ever made and haven't looked back. Plus, the interest on that down payment is tax deductible.
Yes, that's a great point as well. Mm-hmm. The interest that you pay on that, because you are borrowing secured funds, you're borrowing the money and investing it into real estate, the interest that you pay on that borrowed money is tax deductible, which is so freaking cool, which we can go down a huge rabbit hole on that. But the 20% Rose, how you get that is you would pull that from the equity out of your home. So I'll give you an example. If you have a $500,000 house and you have a $300,000 mortgage on that house, there's $200,000 worth of equity there. A mortgage company will allow you to borrow up to $400,000, up to the $400,000 mark. So they'll allow you to have your $300,000 mortgage, and then you can borrow anything up to $400,000. So they'll allow you to borrow the difference, which is $100,000. So if you had a $500,000 home and a $300,000 mortgage, the bank would allow you to get a home equity line of credit for $100,000.
And that's because they'll only loan you up to 80% of the value of the home.
Some banks will only allow you to borrow up to 75%. Rules are changing, but for very basic, simple explanational purposes right now, up to 80% of the value of your home. There's your $100,000 for your next property. Take that $100,000. That's your 20% down on another $500,000 house, which is pretty cool. And if you think to yourself, oh, I don't have that much money right now. I don't have that much equity, sorry. Well, if you're going to be saving anyways, take those savings and make aggressive additional payments to your mortgage, paying down your mortgage faster. See, what a lot of people do is they take that $800 or $1,000 a month and they put it into a savings account where it's not doing anything. If you put it onto your mortgage and make a lump sum payment onto your mortgage, what you're doing is that money that you're putting onto the mortgage, now that $1,000, you're no longer paying interest on $1,000 on your mortgage because you just paid off $1,000 with your mortgage. So if your mortgage is a 5% interest, making a lump sum payment of $1,000 onto your mortgage, it will reduce your mortgage by $1,000, meaning that you won't be charged interest on that $1,000. So you just made a 5% rate of return because you're not paying 5% interest. So you're making money while you're saving, and you're aggressively paying down your mortgage faster until eventually you get to the point where you have enough equity that you can get a home equity line of credit and pull those savings back and invested into real estate. And the great part about that, the way that we just did it, is now that portion of the $100,000 that you're borrowing is also tax deductible as well. The interest is tax deductible. It's a really great way to like, if you're not going to utilize joint ventures, that's a really great way to get started if you already own a home. And she asked, is there a penalty with that? No, there's no penalty. Depends. Talk to your mortgage broker on that. Some lenders will allow you to get a home equity line of credit without having to qualify. Some will make you refinance your mortgage, and then you'll have to do a new mortgage application, and a penalty might be required. But it's a case by case basis. You're going to have to talk to your mortgage broker. I recommend reaching out to Keaton Kirkwood. He's fantastic. He'll be able to explain all this stuff to you, and we'll figure out the best possible way. It's going to be a little while before you get there in a lot of cases. So you might, if you got 3 years left on your mortgage term, just wait until your mortgage term is up, and then go and refinance at that time. But I'm getting a little overcomplicated for beginner stuff right now. Just talk to your mortgage broker to figure out what's the best way for you to structure that. That would be a great way for a lot of people who are going with the saving approach because they're not comfortable with other creative strategies, to get your first rental property. And you'd be surprised, if you stay diligent and you stay strict on it, and just keep making lump sum payments into your mortgage, you can pay it down very quickly. And there's a lot of other really cool tax saving strategies as well that you could utilize, that can even expedite that even faster. And that's why I recommended talking to Keaton Kirkwood. Ask him about how can I pay down my mortgage faster and utilize those funds to invest in real estate. There's a very, very cool strategy called the Smith Maneuver that he can teach you all about. And look up the book if you like reading, the book on the Smith Maneuver. You can accelerate that so much faster than the basic way we just explained to you. There's so many cool ways to do that. And you'd be surprised how you can utilize your tax-free funds and other accelerators to pay down your mortgage significantly faster and make some crazy tax savings, which you can apply to your savings towards investing into real estate. I want to take a quick little break here, and I want to get back into it, and I want to talk about joint ventures as well as another great way to get started.
Sounds good.
Sound good?
Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, are you ready for the biggest real estate investor conference of the year? We present to you Recon. Recon is coming to Edmonton, Alberta on June 15th and 16th. Get your tickets at reiconference.ca.
And we are back. And Wayne, before you segue into the joint venture discussion, using joint venture partners, I wanted to let everybody know that Matt Legere of Legere Homebuyers, which you just heard his little commercial there, is actually going to be on the show tomorrow. Yeah. So I'll get that announcement out on social medias this morning as well. So yeah, if you want to come back and join us tomorrow morning, we'll have Matt here talking about off-market deals.
Yeah. If you manage to figure out a way to on how you're going to finance this new real estate investment, from all these strategies that we're talking about today, reaching out to a qualified and reliable, respectful wholesaler who can get you off-market deals in Alberta, that's a great person to contact. And I think he might have some sample deals maybe that he can share with us tomorrow. And you can see about finding some really good deals.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Okay. So as I mentioned before the break, in my opinion, I say in my opinion because I'm always just trying to be respectful because this is our opinion. But I would almost say it's a fact. It's a fact that you cannot scale a real estate portfolio, and you will never buy enough properties, or you'll never have the funds or the financing to buy all the properties that you want. Joint ventures are inevitable. I did a live training with Barry McGuire on Monday, and we talked about this. Barry McGuire is a real estate lawyer who's been teaching joint ventures and other creative strategies he's been a lawyer for almost 50 years. So this guy knows a thing or two about real estate, about law, contracts, and also about creative strategies. He's been the OG of creative real estate for the longest time, and he's the same guy that taught us everything that we know. So if he taught us, then he must be freaking good. And I was talking with him on a live training on Monday, and we were talking about the inevitability of joint ventures and how incredibly stubborn I was in the beginning because I did not want to partner with people. And I tried and I tried and I tried. And I was okay, if I make all these extra payments onto our mortgage and I'm able to the tax savings that I'll make from the fact that our interest is tax deductible, that'll increase our tax refund by about $2,000. And I can utilize that $2,000 and make an extra lump sum payment out of the mortgage, which will accelerate things. And maybe by the year 7 or year 8, I might be able to buy 2 properties. And it didn't matter how many times I went through the math and how many notepads I scribbled through and wore out the buttons on my calculator. There was no way around it. I realized that if I wanted to grow my portfolio, if I wanted to build something significant in real estate, I had to bring in other people and other money. And I took Barry McGuire's joint venture course, learned all about it, and a few other, learned from a few other educators as well, all about how to utilize other people or how to attract other people to us that would want to partner with us, that would bring the money and the mortgage, and we would bring our expertise. Because there was no doubt in my mind, even at that time when I was still fairly new, I was very knowledgeable. I was very knowledgeable in real estate investing. Mm-hmm. I was studying and studying and studying and studying. I mean, I know significantly more now, obviously. But at that time, I felt confident enough in my abilities to stand in front of someone and say, hey, I'm worth investing in, right?
Yeah.
And when I came to that realization, I started really diligently working on, like, what kind of deals am I going to be looking for? And what type of people do I want to be attracting or want to be partnering with? And so maybe I'll just give you the definition of what a joint venture is really, really quickly here. And this is what we focused on the Monday live training with Barry, was that not a lot of people understand what the word joint ventures or what the term joint ventures means. They hear it a lot, but I'm going to simplify it so you guys can understand what it means. So the definition of a joint venture is a joint venture in real estate is a business arrangement between 2 or more parties who come together to collaborate on a specific real estate project. In this arrangement, each party typically contributes resources such as capital, land, expertise, or connections with the goal of achieving mutual benefits from the venture. Joint ventures can take various forms, such as the development of a new property, the renovation of existing properties, or the acquisition of rental properties. The parties involved share both the risks and the rewards of the venture and often establish a formal agreement outlining their respective roles, responsibilities, and profit-sharing arrangements. That's what the joint venture contract or agreement is all about, and which we'll be covering in detail. You'll be getting that at the Joint Ventures Workshop if you guys are coming. Joint ventures are common in real estate development and investment, allowing parties to leverage their strengths and resources to pursue opportunities that may be beyond their individual capacities. I will read that last line again. That may be beyond their individual capacities. Each of us have our own individual capacities, unless, of course, you're starting with $2 million in the bank. You got a big inheritance when you were young, which I really, really, really hope you didn't, because that's very sad. Mm-hmm. Most of us don't have more than a few $100,000 in the bank, and that's just not enough to buy the properties that you want. It's a lot of money.
Most of us don't have anywhere near that much money in the bank.
Yeah. I think because most of us, when we're young, we make dumb decisions and we buy stupid stuff, mm-hmm. right? So joint ventures is, like I said, a really great way to leverage other people's resources and expertise to expedite your journey in real estate investing and the scaling of your portfolio. Now, it sounds pretty crazy. Like I have a hard time with this, like even because I understand it, I see it, Gabby. But as I say a lot, I try and put myself in the shoes of other individuals who are just getting started. And I remember what it was like getting started. And the thought of me being an expert, standing in front of someone and being like, hey, I'm a real estate investing expert. I know how to find a good deal. I'm going to find a deal. I'm going to purchase. I'm going to acquire it. I'm going to put great tenants in it. And I'm going to know how to manage it, the day-to-day of it. I'm going to build all the systems out. And I'm going to know exactly when to sell it to maximize our profits and reduce our risks. When you're getting started, it's very hard to have the confidence to say that in front of someone, especially when you're saying that in front of someone and proposing that they bring the 20% down payment and the mortgage financing in exchange for your expertise. But that is how it works. And it was so hard for me to believe that anybody would ever do that when I was getting started. Even though I had ridiculous confidence in myself. I knew that I was the type of person that even if I didn't know the answer, I would find the answer, right? But still, it's hard to believe that a friend or a family member of yours would say, "Oh wow, that Paul, I mean, he's the kind of guy that I would give $100,000 to buy a rental property." You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
No offense to Paul. I'm just saying it's really hard to have that much confidence in yourself, but it happens. And I think that as you start to see more and more individuals in your community, you start surrounding yourself with other like-minded individuals in the real estate community. You start seeing hearing those stories of like, yeah, I was talking to my friend and I told him about real estate, and they said, yeah, they said yes, and we bought a house together, and we did up a joint venture agreement, and I'm getting 50% of the profits. It's crazy, but it actually happens. It happens all the time. And it reminds me of, now that we're on the top of my dad. So if my dad is listening, he's pumping his tires big time today. He's going to have to widen the door frames to get his head through. But one of the things my dad said growing up was that, let me preface this. He was determined to raise a hardworking kid. He was also determined to raise a hardworking kid that would be good at math. And it was definitely instilled in me. But one of the things that he said many times was that you work really, really, really hard at your job so that you get into a position where you don't have to work hard anymore. You don't get paid for how hard you work. You get paid for what you know. Now, that was applied to the corporate ladder example, where you work really, really, really hard and you get into management, and now you don't have to work hard to make money. You make money for what you know. But it always stuck in my head that you make money for what you know and not for how hard you work. So I worked very hard in my 20s to get to a position where I could be trusted. And it's funny, it made its way full circle. And now here I am in a position where people want to invest in real estate with us because it's with us. They know that we know what we're doing and that we can be trusted. And now we get paid for what it is that we know. We also get paid for our confidence in what we know in real estate investing. And you can do that too. You can 100% do that too. You don't have to work hard saving and doing all and getting 2 or 3 jobs and trying to pay down your mortgage aggressively and like paying off all your credit cards. Like there's easier ways to do it. But in order to do that, you need to build up knowledge and understanding. And that's what I did for years. Instead of, I had that moment, Gabby, you remember around the time it was, that I had that moment that I stopped putting 150% into my job. Mm-hmm. And I started doing about 99 to 100% of my job and gave the other 50% to this business. But not just into this business, but into learning about this business. Yeah. I no longer was spending money on dumb shit. I started spending money on education. I started investing that money and that time into me, into building myself up to the type of person that I am now. All of that was all because I invested that time and energy and money into me, making me the best version of myself or the best real estate investor in this goddamn community, so that I was the person that everybody came to for answers, or I was the person that everybody came to in my friends and family to learn more about real estate or to get involved. Mm-hmm. If you want to become the type of person that people are interested in investing in or trust you enough to invest in you and real estate, you need to invest that time into yourself first and that money into yourself first. You need to get education. You need to spend every waking minute learning. You need to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning and ask your questions like you are today, which is fantastic. Your commitment to getting up every morning and learning is a great, great step in the right direction. It's perfect. I think it's great. I think you should ask more questions. I think you should ask 10 questions a day to the point where it's like, oh my God, they asked another question. I don't give a shit though, to be honest, because I know that if you keep asking questions, you're going to get more information, and that information that you learn is going to be retained, which is going to increase your level of understanding, which is going to help you build trust with other individuals, which is going to help you raise capital to buy properties, to scale your portfolio, to live the life of your dreams. So if I can be a part of that, I fucking 100% will. But that starts with you. You have to ask questions every morning. You have to learn. If you see an opportunity for a course or a free webinar or something, take it. Read every book, listen to every podcast, do whatever you can to learn and get your level of understanding, your knowledge and your level of understanding up, so that way you could be the type of person that could be trusted. When someone asks you a question, your friends and family, about real estate investing, you have the answer. You want to be that type of person. Because if you are, you will start getting paid for what you know, as opposed to getting paid for how hard you work. You got to put a little bit of legwork in the beginning. It'll take you about 2 or 3 years of learning. And then you'll eventually have a good understanding of real estate investing. It takes about 2 or 3 years, we've learned. If you're going to listen to podcasts, if you're going to read books, if you're going to do free webinars and stuff like that, it'll take you about 2 to 3 years. That's how long it took me. There is a faster way. And this was not planned at all. But this is what we talk about in a lot about our mentorship program. And I'm going to say it because we're here at this moment. If you think it's a great idea, go for it. If not, then stay on track and continue to keep doing it the way you're doing it. But the purpose and the mission of our mentorship program, REI Masters, is to help you fast track that 2 to 3 years worth of learning into 2 to 3 months. If you've been listening to us for a while, you probably know that we don't hold back on information. We're not here to give you a little taste, and then make you pay for it. We're here to give it all out. And if you listen to this morning show every day and you ask questions every single day, I believe that if you listen to every show all year, you will 100%, and you ask questions every day, you will get everything you need to know. But you won't get access to the workshops. You won't get access to the documents. You won't get access to the spreadsheets. You won't get access to the contracts and all the other digital documents that you're going to need for your business. And as well, you're not going to have direct access to Gabby and I. You can get your questions answered, but you won't get the guidance. So I'm going to throw it out there that there is a faster solution if you think that investing into yourself is a good idea. If you think investing, I'll ask you this question. I'm going to rephrase it. Do you want to try and figure it out for yourself for 2 to 3 years? Or are you willing to invest $15,000 into yourself to learn in 2 to 3 months? This question will definitely rub a lot of you the wrong way. But for some of you, a light bulb is going to go off. And I apply this same way of thinking to everything in my life. Whenever I have a big, large project to do, I always ask, how much can I pay to get this done faster? All the time.
Yeah, 100%.
We're actually in the process of revamping our mentorship program, ironically, right now. And we're going to be adding in a lot more other programs. And I've been trying to do that for a year, trying. And eventually I went to Gabby and I said, I'm way too fucking busy for this shit. And I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just going to pay someone tens of thousands of dollars just do this for me. And she's like, okay. Because if I don't do it, I'm never going to get it done. Mm-hmm. Same thing. Like if you're trying to lose 30 pounds and you're like, okay, I guess I'm going to do some sit-ups. I'm going to read some books. I'm going to listen to this podcast on how to lose weight and everything else. Or you could just hire a fucking trainer and you can get it done in a couple months. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You're going to get done so much faster if you hire professionals who are just going to guide you and get it to you faster. So the $15,000 investment, normally it's I wouldn't just throw it out there like that, but I'm just going to throw it out there. $15,000 to learn faster. If that is valuable to you, then do it. If it's not valuable to you, then stay on track and there's no hard feelings. But in my mind, everything we talked about earlier about if you wait to invest, you're missing out on years of growth. And that was something that it was very hard for me to understand early on. I was very stubborn, not just in joint ventures, but also in in the education as well. I refused to pay for education, and I wasted like 2 to 4 years trying to figure it out on my own. When had I paid someone, I could have been going within a few months.
Mm-hmm.
All of the questions that I had or the uncertainties that I had around real estate investing, they could have been resolved in a matter of like an hour, and I could have been making a plan and actually applying it.
Yeah.
But instead, I wanted to figure it out. I wanted to read more articles. I wanted to listen to more podcasts, hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of podcasts, sifting through bullshit to finally find that little gold nugget, or maybe even a small little fraction of my answered to my question.
Yeah.
I think that whether you do master's, mentorship program, or any course, even if you just want to learn about how to raise capital and how to get joint ventures, go to the joint ventures workshop this weekend. But don't use the fact that you can't afford it or you don't have the money as an excuse to not learn, and just sit there and be like, oh, I don't have the money for that $50 course or that $100 course. I guess I'm just not going to do it. Because if you can't come up with joint venture workshops, $1,000, it's $999. If you can't come up with $1,000 this Saturday to invest in learning how to raise money, then I'm pretty sure that you're never going to raise money anyways. If you can't figure out how to find $1,000 to pay for a workshop that teaches you how to raise money, let's just be honest, you're probably not cut out for it. Just being real, hard truths here.
Yeah, very hard truth.
Because this is what entrepreneurship is all about. Your whole journey of real estate investing, you think it's all about learning how to find tenants and how to fix toilets and how to get the most mortgages and how to do creative deals, how to negotiate. It has nothing to fucking do with that. I can teach you that stuff in 2 to 3 months. At the 3rd month, we instantly transition to how are you going to get all the money to buy all these properties. Your whole journey of real estate investing and building your business is all around finding money. If you can't find the first $1,000 to learn how to raise the rest of the money, then you're never going to get anywhere. Hard truths. Hard truths. But I want to open this up so that you guys have a better understanding. Rose, which has nothing to do with your question today, but I hope it's valuable. And everybody else is listening. Real estate investing, once you get past the basic level of understanding of how to find deals, what types of deals you're doing, what's your tenant profile, what markets you're going to be investing in, how to fill vacancies, how to deal with bad tenants, when to sell, how to get the best use out of your properties and out of your land, all that stuff. Once you understand all of the real estate investing education, the rest of it is nothing but trying to find money. So the longer you wait to learn, the longer it is until you get started. Unless, of course, you just want to wait for your parents to pass, which again, I know it's morbid, but I don't give a shit, Gabby. It's the truth. I'm just laying out all the options on the table. Mm-hmm. If you don't like that idea, if you're not going to wait for your inheritance, then there is nothing coming. Yeah. I know it's not a great thing to say, but the only reason I'm saying is because if I do not reference that, there is nothing else coming. Nobody's coming to help you. Nobody's coming with cash. You're not going to get a letter in the mail saying you inherited $4 million from a Saudi prince. Like, it's not fucking coming. Unless you want to marry rich. Marry rich? I don't know. What other options are there, Gabby? There's nothing. Nobody's coming to help you.
I'm definitely going to win the lottery one of these days.
Oh, go keep buying your fucking Powerballs. Nothing's coming for you. No. You are in control.
You have to take control.
Plain and simple.
Yeah.
I gave you the simple answer and the complicated advanced answer to your question, Rose. What are the strategies to buy a passive income property and how to do it? What I'm going to offer for you is, because I feel like my basic answer could have been better. Even though I saw a couple comments in the chat saying that it was a great explanation. I just don't feel like it was thorough enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to prove it to you that I can show you how to understand real estate investing. And then hopefully by the end of what I'm going to show you, you're going to realize that raising capital is the most important part and getting good at that. This is literally the filter to which real estate investors hit, and some of them continue and some of them don't. This is the same filter that we see all the time. You'll see people coming in, they look like they're going to do really great things. Oh yeah, that person's really smart. They're doing great stuff. And then they disappear. It's because they are afraid of raising capital. They're afraid. As soon as they find out that this is what real estate investing is, they leave because they either get scared or they're not cut out for it. So I'm gonna try and fast track that for you. What I'm going to do, Rose, is I want you to email me at info@reimasters.ca and request a copy of our 2-day bootcamp. I have a 2-day bootcamp that we did in December. We're going to be scheduling another one here probably later in the summer. It goes through all of the basics of real estate investing, how to find a market, talks about joint ventures. It talks about how to run the numbers for a rental property, everything you need. I'll give it to you for free. And I will extend that to anybody else who's listening as well. If you want a copy of that bootcamp to give you a better understanding about how real estate investing works, even at a 2-day bootcamp, a basic bootcamp, we still went above and beyond what other people do because we just don't give simple answers. So it's going to give you a good chunk of what you need to know about getting started in real estate investing. And I promise you, you're going to come to the same realization that I did, is that now that I know all of this stuff, I'm going to need money and I'm going to need guidance. Same realizations that I came to. And I am a stubborn motherfucker. I don't like asking for help. And I don't like asking for money. But just like you, I came to the realization that I need guidance. I need someone to answer my questions and tell me what to do. Someone who's ahead of me, and I need money. So email me at info@reimasters.ca. If you want a copy of that bootcamp, I'll send it to you. Not a problem. For everybody else, actually, no, everyone. I don't know why I'm saying for everybody else. I was going to say, suck it. I want to thank everybody for being here today. And I want to thank you all for listening to me rant on about real estate investing and fun stories about my dad every day. I just, I really, truly, I love doing this. I love doing this every day. It's so fulfilling.
Wayne, you were on a roll. Like, did you notice that I just literally sat back and kept my mouth shut?
I saw your eyes closed a couple times.
Did you? No, you didn't. That was awesome. I think that was a really, really great learning opportunity for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So well done, Wayne.
Oh, shucks. Thanks, Gab. We got Matt Legere coming on tomorrow, and, off-market deals are a really great way to get into real estate investing. There's lots of great deals on MLS, but, they're kind of getting a little bit harder to get a hold of because of everyone's so interested in Alberta right now. And Legere home buyers, they are experts in finding off-market great deals. And you don't have to fight for them, and you get them at a below market price. So Matt's going to talk about that tomorrow and maybe some deals that he's got going on right now, and you can reach out to him.
And also, I just want to quickly say, you were mentioning Barry McGuire's and our joint venture focus workshop this Saturday. If you do want to sign up for that, if you saw the value in what Wayne was saying.
Discount code.
Oh, okay. Wayne was trying to send me a secret message that I couldn't interpret.
I said, I love you.
Yeah, you can go to barrymaguire.ca to register, and you can use the discount code REI Masters.
No.
Sorry.
REI Morning Show.
REI Morning Show. See, that's how you can't whisper things to me. They get lost in translation. REI Morning Show to get a discount on that.
Yeah, 25% off.
Yeah.
Because
awesome.
we like you.
We do.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody, have a fantastic Wednesday, and we will see you tomorrow morning.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Real Estate Investing Morning Show. Looking for more guidance and coaching? The REI Masters Mentorship Program might be what you're looking for. For more information, email info@reimasters.ca.